everybody. My name is Kayla Corbett. I'm the Vice President of Friends of Lawrence County Animals, FOLCA. And I am here today with Ann Paley from David Crockett State Park and Lori Sandberg from the Lawrence County-Lawrenceburg Animal Shelter. So welcome, both of you.
Thank you.
I think we've got a good show today. We're going to talk a little bit about our guest animal today, Latte. We're going to talk about the ice storm that we just had. We're going to talk a little bit about upcoming events with FOLCA and with the shelter, and I think the ongoing partnership between the shelter and the state park. Yep. So I think it's going to be a good show.
Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah.
Very excited.
Before we get started, I want to make sure that we take a minute to recognize our sponsors. So we want to thank Story and Lee, Parks and Lumber Company, and the Hearing Services of Middle Tennessee. So thank them. Make sure you go out and support them. Without their support, we would not be able to do the show, and we wouldn't be able to support the shelter and support these animals in the way that we do. So thank you to them for their ongoing support of FOLCA and the Lawrenceburg Animal Shelter. So I'm going to turn it over to Lori so she can introduce our dog of the week.
Okay, yeah. So we have Latte with us today. She's about 7 months old, about 40 pounds. So she's not done growing yet. She'll be a pretty good size when she gets older. So she will be one of the dogs that will be walking in the Tail to Trails that we'll be doing at the park next week, a week from Sunday. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 15th. Week from Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, she's been pretty good so far. I think she was a little bit nervous when she came in, but she's walked right up to every single person who's walked in this room. She's greeted them, sniffed them. She was a little nervous about the heater, but, I think other than that, she's not been too anxious for being in a brand new place with a bunch of brand new people.
No, she's been very chill.
Yeah.
Girl.
So she's one of over 100 dogs, I think, right now that are waiting on their...
126, I believe, is how many we have right now.
Wow, 126.
Yeah.
Who are waiting on their forever homes right now at the shelter. Do you want to give the number for the shelter if anyone wants to adopt Latte?
Sure. Our phone number is 931, 244-6122. And if you want to look at all of our dogs, you can go to petfinder.com or adoptapet.com, no spaces. And all of the dogs are listed in there. You just search for Lawrenceburg and select shelter, and all of our dogs should show up there. All of the adoptable ones will show up there.
Yeah, I was scrolling through there, I guess, last week. There's an app you can download to the Pet Finder app.
Yes,
and you can save the Lawrenceburg Animal Shelter as your preferred shelter. Yeah. And so you can scroll through and look at all the different pictures of the...
And I believe you can search by breed, by size, by age. Okay. You can pick what kind of dog you're looking for almost specifically, and just look for those kinds of dogs. You might even be able to set up a reminder where if the dog shows up that you're looking for, then it might send you a text. I'm not completely sure, but I think that's what it'll do.
That's really cool.
A notification, not a text.
Yeah, that's really great. They're doing a lot of new things like that now, so you can get dogs that you think are going to fit more with what you're looking for and kind of help you narrow down that search, because I think sometimes it does feel a little overwhelming when you say, there's 116 or is that what you said? 126 dogs at the shelter and scrolling through but being able to narrow that down and say, this is more in the range of the dogs that maybe I'm...
Well, not only that, if you come to the shelter and you haven't looked online, of course, we'll bring dogs out to see you, but it's a little bit harder at that point, because then you have to tell us what you're looking for. We might bring one out and you decide, that's not quite it, and then we have to, and we don't mind doing that, but, we're getting dogs in and out. So if you've already looked and you fall in love with one online, then it's easier to just come and say, hey, I want to look at this one.
Yeah.
And then go from there.
Right. Window shopping.
Yeah.
Window shopping.
Yes. Absolutely.
And then you get to narrow it down, get their personalities and things like that.
Yeah.
Yep. She's a good girl.
She's a great girl.
So I guess while we're talking about the shelter, we all survived the ice storm.
Yeah.
Relatively unscathed, I think. The great ice storm of 2026.
Yeah.
So I know that we had quite a big community effort pull together and pull through to help out the animal shelter.
We sent out a couple of requests on Facebook. Folka sent one out. We sent one out. We sent out an email to all of our volunteers and current fosterers or people who have said they want to foster and said, hey, we want to try to get some of our dogs that are outside inside so that they weren't outside with those single digit temperatures that we were having. So from the 21st, the Wednesday before, we fostered out 34 dogs. Wow. And there were some people that took multiples. So they didn't just take one, they took two, and some took four. Kayla took four.
I took four
puppies. And we had someone else. She was part of three others that someone had fostered. So yeah, we had quite a few people step up. We still ended up with some dogs outside, but it was easier to select the dogs we wanted to be outside. You know, the ones that have the thick coats that like it out there, and not have to put like any of the little dogs or anything. So that helped tremendously. Some people still have their fosters, so we're hoping that's a good thing, that they might decide to keep theirs.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we've had 10 adoptions since the 21st also. So most of them, almost all of them, have been from them fostering for the storm. A couple of them had come in and looked at other ones. So yeah.
Well, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. I know it was really great to see, you know, how many people in the community stepped up. And, you know, I was having conversations with people and telling them, you know, right now, this is how many dogs we have that are still going to be sleeping outside, you know, in this ice storm. And they were like, okay, we're going tomorrow and we're going to go get a dog, you know, and watching people show up with hay and with straw. And we had tarps and, you know, we got a heater and things like that. And it was really moving to see like how many people came together, you know, to help the shelter and help the dogs with the weather.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone. And I am really grateful to everyone who fostered dogs. And if you still have your foster, I hope you're really enjoying that. I enjoyed my time with my foster puppies.
You had the fun ones.
I had fun ones. Puppies are fun, but they're messy. And for me, it was, I have a good setup for puppies, and I'm able to, you know, kind of keep them quarantined to where they don't destroy everything, but, you know, they can still have freedom to run around and play. And puppies are really high maintenance. And so I was like, well, it would be good for me to take those out. And then that's, you know, more time that they can spend taking care of all the other animals at the shelter. But it was a lot of fun. And pictures were all over Facebook. I was posting videos of them, and one of my videos got something like 25,000 views. So everybody was sharing them all over the place and things like that. But fostering's a lot of fun. We don't do it all the time, but we did it last year for a while, and we did it this year. And I think it's something that my husband and I are going to start doing more regularly, and then giving our dogs, you know, a break in between. But
And a foster doesn't have to be a long-term thing. We have a couple of people that come and pick up a couple of dogs like for the weekend, you know, just to get them out of the shelter, expose them to new things. And so that it helps the dogs. It helps the dogs because it gets their stress level down, but then it also helps us because then the foster can tell us how that dog reacted, you know, and we get information back on the dogs for when somebody does want to adopt them. So it doesn't have to be a, you know, 2-month, 3-month thing. It's for however long you want, just to help the dogs get them out.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, it exposes them to new experiences and okay, how do they do with cats? And like we have cows and chickens and donkeys and goats. And so it's like, you know, those puppies got exposed to all of that. But they all got adopted. All 4 of those puppies got adopted. So that was good. And so now, you know, our dogs get a break for a little while, and then we'll pick our next victim to put out there and get adopted. But my husband really enjoyed it too. You know, when I was like, oh, we're bringing 4 puppies home for the storm, at first he was a little hesitant, I would say, but he was down on the floor playing with them, and he sees the benefit
Right.
of what it does for those dogs, and socializing them, especially when they're that young,
Yeah.
and how important that is for them. So yeah, it was good. Anne.
Yes.
Hi.
Hey.
So talking about the state park with the ice storm.
Yeah.
What kind of preparations and things did you guys have to do for?
Well, so the park, a lot of the infrastructure is old. It was built in the 50s. So a lot of the water lines and things like that are older. I'm pretty sure sewer lines are like the old clay sewer line, so anyway, a lot of stuff like that. So, and then if you've been through the park, a lot of our buildings are like the stone around the bottom, which gets really cold when it's freezing outside. So we usually do end up with some busted water pipes and things like that. So just being diligent with our dripping the water, not running it full blast, but dripping the water, making sure the heat was on in buildings where it typically maybe wouldn't be on, or in buildings where like we're not occupying right now, like the museum, for example, it's closed for the season. And so dripping the water in there, keeping the heat on in there. But then we also have at the park our animal ambassadors. So we have the 4 birds of prey, and 2 snakes. And so the snakes are in our ranger office right now since the museum's closed for the season. So they're pretty accessible to feed, take care of, all of that. But the captive animals, they're down, they're outside. And then per our policy, if it's going to be below freezing, they need to come inside. And so moving them inside, but then we were like, well, if all this ice is going to be here, we can't get down the hill to get to the museum, to get to the birds. So where are we going to put them, for up to 10 days, we were like, we don't know how long this is going to last. We don't know what's going to happen, So then we were like, well, we'll just put them in the ranger office too. And I don't know if you guys can imagine like 4 owls, or 3 owls and, let's see. No, 2 owls and a black vulture and a hawk all being inside and like talking to each other, but it's loud. And so we were like, yeah, the ranger office will be great. And then we were like, wait, what if the power goes off? Like there's no heat there if the power goes off, and then they'll still be cold, and then we were like, the snakes are going to die if they're in there. So we got everybody situated and moved around to a safe place in the park. And then, pretty much it was, once the ice was down, we do have rangers that live on site. And so they were taking care of the birds, feeding them and stuff like that. And then making sure, because when we bring them inside, they're in like the largest size, like pet taxi that we could get, for their breed. And so, but they can't stretch their wings out really. They can't fly. So like when we had time, like getting them out, letting them perch, for even just 30 minutes so they can stretch, but that first day after everything and it was above freezing and we could put them back outside for a while. Oh my gosh, Dan, he's our black vulture. He, immediately was in his enclosure and his wings were just like completely stretched. Like he was like, oh my gosh, I can move. So that was really great. But we're working with our friends group so that for next winter, basically the outside enclosures can be winterized. So we don't have to move them inside. We can just get those winterized so that they can be warm outside and be in their own space. Because like dogs, they get stressed when they have to be inside for a long time. They don't like being in the carriers for a long time. And it's more stressful for them when we bring them in and have to leave them in for days on end, because of cold weather. So being able to winterize that so they can stay in their normal habitat is going to be great. So we got a plan for that for next year. So that'll take, if this happens again, that's one thing that gets checked off the list. Yeah. But then other than that, just making sure, everybody that lived on park had a backup heat source. Do you have somewhere to go if you don't have heat? Things like that, which thankfully all of our ranger residences on park have a wood fireplace. So they could do that, as a last resort if they absolutely had to. And then the cabins do have gas heat. So if they run out of firewood or whatever, we could get them in a cabin. I was like, okay, we just need to be prepared for everything. Right. And then a lot of it was just having that grace for your staff, in the days leading up to like, hey, I've got to leave early today because I need to go get more firewood for my house. Or, hey, I've got to go get more hay and feed and stuff for my animals at home, and so just having that grace and letting them feel like they had time to prepare, because they're going through this too,
Right.
you know. And then I think the hardest part was once it did hit, you know, there was a day and time when rangers didn't really have a choice. Like if there was an event like that happening, it was like, no, you need to stay on park because you need to be able to respond, you know. And now, you know, being like, no, if you don't live on park, stay in your home, be with your family. If we need you, we'll call you, we'll get you there somehow, you know. But then the preventative maintenance too, like we have a hazardous tree policy, for example. So we go through the first couple weeks of January, we'd actually cut several trees, about 300 actually, that were considered hazardous.
Wow.
And so happy to report that because of the ice storm, we only lost like 5 or 6 trees maybe.
Okay.
We didn't have that many down on trails or across the roadway. So I think that's due in large part to just that preventative maintenance.
That's good.
On the front end and scheduling that. We had no idea the ice storm was coming. We just scheduled it for the winter because it was cold and there's nothing else going on right now. But you know, just I think the hard part for me was like I was at home and I was hanging out and I was like, I don't really think it's safe to drive to the park yet. So I went in. I didn't go in that Monday, but I went in the Tuesday. And then like trying to get around the park then at that point to kind of assess like, okay, what have we got going on, you know, and then now that everything's thawed out, you know, did we get any leaks? Did any pipes burst?
Right.
You know, we're still kind of cleaning up some of the stuff, but we got pretty much everything done today. And then because we are state employees and we're law enforcement, we're EMR, a lot of our guys have chainsaw training. A lot of our guys have fire training, things like that. We have been requested by TEMA to go help other communities. So 2 of my guys were gone. One was gone last week. I think today, he said was the last day. He's been in Wayne County helping them with a crew there, helping clear roads. And then I had another one go this week to Macon County with a group. And then I'll be going to work some medical shifts at a Red Cross shelter in Nashville. This one day this week and one day next week.
Yeah.
And so just making sure we're there for those communities and helping give back for that, you know, is really important to us too. You know,
definitely.
Because we're here, we made it through, we're on the other side,
Right.
you know, and it's like, okay, now how can we help?
Right.
And so it's been really awesome to see how many rangers across the state, they put out their request for the medical shifts. And within 2 hours, every shift was taken. 54 shifts were filled in 2 hours. So it was awesome.
That is great.
You know, and rangers are coming from all across the state to help, you know, fill that need.
Right.
The SAW crews was a little bit harder because they requested a couple of specific trainings. And so there were fewer rangers that had those. But thankfully, I have 2 at Crockett that have those. And so they were both like, we want to go. And I was like, well, take off. Go. Go. We'll get it covered. And so I think that's important to they made a Facebook post today and they were talking about just all the different ways that people were helping and, you know, what everyone had been doing, I guess, with across the state for the ice storms and everything. And, you know, from like the behind the scenes stuff to even just making sure like shifts are covered at your park. You're doing something that's helping.
Right.
So it's been interesting to say the least. This is, I guess, the first big disaster that I've experienced as a ranger in my career.
Right.
So that had a more direct effect. Obviously, Helene hit East Tennessee, but I didn't have as much contact with that. They didn't really have a need. Anything they requested, we couldn't really fill that need that time. But for this, we could. And so it just had a more direct impact on all of us, I think.
Yeah.
Seeing all of that.
Yeah. It is always great to see how the communities across the state pull together in different ways, you know, when things like that happen. So you're still assessing at the park, like
everything's open now. Everything's officially open. I know some people, we were getting some flack. I was getting some flack from one of my friends because the hiking trails weren't open, but y'all, they were not safe.
Safety first.
They were slippery. But no, it's all melted. It's good now. The rain definitely helped. The warmer temperatures the last couple of days have helped. It's hard out there. We don't pre-treat the roads. TDOT will come through after, but because we are a state road, so TDOT will come through after an event and, you know, salt and help get the ice and whatever off. But because we 3 people live on the park. So, I mean, that's pretty low
Right.
on the priority list, especially if we don't have visitors on park and no one's trapped in the park.
Right.
I mean, because the guys that live on the park, they're like, oh, we'll drive.
We're getting out.
Yeah, they're like, we'll get out if we want to. And I'm like, okay. But so they did come through and salt, earlier on. It was just still so cold. It really did not melt anything. And so finally having that all gone, and just everything's totally open. I think there's still ice in the lake, but it's not completely frozen over like it was a couple days ago, which was wild to see. I've never seen that before at that park. And so dealing with that, and then, people have been cooped up for however many days, and they want to get out, and so they want to come to the park and see things. And so then we were dealing with people trying to walk on the frozen lake, and all the
oh my god,
so then there's other stuff that was kind of trickling in. Like, okay, I didn't think I would ever have to deal with that, but here we are.
Don't walk on the frozen lake. Frozen lake.
We're totally open. So far we haven't gotten we've gotten a couple of trees cut off the trails that we have found. I'm sure we will find more. And when we find them, we'll go cut them off. That's what we do. But for now, I think everything's good.
Okay, good. Is all the ice melted up at the shelter? I know you guys have a lot of shade up
Almost.
there. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. We have a couple of spots where I live too, where it's like it just doesn't get sunlight. And so even though it was warm today, and maybe the rains melted it for the most part, but it's just, I feel like it's going to be frozen forever.
Yeah. It seems like it, huh? Yeah.
I know water's a big concern, and when it gets really cold like that for you guys up at the shelter as well, right?
Yeah.
Just keeping everyone watered. And
it is, yeah. We don't have because it doesn't happen a lot, so there's no, it's not like with you, it's not a regular thing. So we need to figure out what to do for the next time if it is extended like it is, because it's over a week that the water in the outside kennels were still frozen. So
yeah. So we're working on some thoughts and ideas on how to make sure all the dogs have fresh, warm water all the time. Yeah, for sure. So the park and the shelter are working together for a new program called Tails and Trails.
Tails to Trails.
Yep. Tails to Trails. So I think that's starting Valentine's Day.
The day after Valentine's.
The day after Valentine's Day.
I think y'all picked Sundays, right?
Yep. Yes.
So Sunday afternoons once a month, starting February 15th. So it'll be February 15th, March 15th, and then it's not April 15th, but that Sunday, that's the same kind in April.
All right.
But it came about, you go to Ramona that works in our office.
Yes.
So if you work at the park, you got to live outside, because like at some point, even like Ramona's our account clerk, and she ends up on the trails all the time. You got to live to be outside. And so she, a couple years ago, asked about hosting some women's hikes, because she was getting some feedback that women wanted to hike more and do these other trails at the park, but they were scared, or maybe they didn't have experience with hiking or something. And so she started doing her women's hikes, and that's how you guys met. And so they were talking, and she was like, hey, do you think we could do a hike where people check out a shelter dog for the day and bring the dog to hike? And Ramona's like, I don't know. I guess she said, let me ask my boss. Let me ask my manager.
Actually, I only asked her if we could advertise that people could come and get a dog and do a doggy adventure and take it over there. And then as I was talking to her, maybe after I talked to her, I guess you and her got together and you ran with it and made it an event. And got a ranger involved and everything. It was like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
And then she's saying, well, if it goes well, we might be able to do it more than once a month, or maybe have more people, because the first one's limited to 5 just to see how it goes.
Okay.
But no, thank you. That was awesome.
And that's I'm going to be very clear. This was not my idea. I just said yes. I just said yes.
It was a collaborative effort.
Yeah. But she said, do you think that would be something that was possible? And I was like, yeah, I think that'd be great. We already hosted Tails to Trails as a hike, but people brought their own dogs, right?
Okay.
And so it's a different it's giving people who don't have a dog an opportunity,
right?
But then also giving these dogs an opportunity to get out, get socialized, go for an adventure. It's not far from the shelter. It's basically
5 minutes
across the highway.
It's just
it's
across
not
the road.
far at all.
No.
And then
like I said, Ramona loves to hike. And then Joseph, who's our newest ranger, he is in charge of all of our like volunteering and stuff. And so he's the ranger that's going to be partnered with the event to kind of, he puts it on our online platform, Galaxy Digital. So that's where people can sign up. You can see it on we posted it on our Facebook page. There's a link on Facebook. And then there's also a link on our website. And so you can go and sign up. It is limited to 5 for the first time.
Yeah. Okay. Get our feet under us.
Yep. See what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
And then kind of gauge the interest. And then if if the 5 goes really well, then maybe we can do like 7 or 8 the next time.
Sure.
Just kind of
slow and manageable growth.
If we eventually end up with all 126 dogs out there walking on a trail, that would be something. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a great opportunity. And like I said, we already offer a similar hike, but for people who own dogs already.
Okay.
And so we had considered, we were talking about it, and I was like, well, could we, put them together? But then there was the concern of, well, do we really want to bring the shelter dogs around personal dogs?
Right.
Maybe this is their first time out on an adventure, and that's they're already going to an unfamiliar place. So do we really want them with an unfamiliar
The added
dog?
stress,
Because at least the dogs that they're going to hike with, they've been around at the shelter, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
you have like a basic idea that they're going to behave.
Right.
Right.
We hope.
Right.
Yes.
And so we're really excited about it. We've never done this before. I know you guys have come out at a couple of different events out to the park.
Yes,
I
we
think
have.
United Church had you guys out,
Yes.
and then when we did a concert at the amphitheater, they came out then and brought a few dogs,
Yeah.
adoptable
Yeah.
dogs,
Yeah.
for people to just pet, love on, and I think they've had success with that. I don't know how many got adopted from each event. I didn't ask, but
I don't remember. I think at least one from the church one, not 2. I don't know about the other one.
yeah, and so I think it's great, and I think people I know when I was in college, the shelter would bring dogs to campus all the time during finals week because it releases stress, like you said, for the dogs, gets them out of the shelter,
Yeah.
but it's like a stress reliever for people too, just to be able to pet dogs. And so they would have a big playpen set up in front of the student union, and between finals, I would just go sit in there and have puppies crawl all over me. It was the greatest thing ever. And so it's really nice that we get to do that at the park.
Yeah.
But then also just to bring awareness, I would say every year at the park, we get called by anywhere between 5 and 10 people about, hey, there's a stray dog running around the campground, or running down by shelter 1, or running over, run over here, run over there. And we were talking about it today before I came in here. And I think everybody that works at the park has taken home a park dog, is what we, everyone has taken home a park dog.
Yeah.
Because, either no one claimed them or whatever, the shelter stays full, and it's okay, well, we're fortunate, we have space, we can keep a dog for 2, 3, 4 days, feed it, try to find the owner if we can't. Like I said, eventually I've got 2 park dogs right now. One of the other rangers has 2 park dogs. I also have a park cat. All my animals, I think with the exception of 1, came from the park because someone dropped them or something like that. There's been a couple times that, we have been able to reunite them with an owner because it's a dog that slipped a leash or just slipped out the door, and those get found really quickly and get home really quickly. But the ones that nobody claims, it's like, okay, what's going on? And so I don't know if they end up dropped at the park because they know people we're busy. We have people all the time, and somebody's probably going to take it home. And like I said, what we usually do, we can keep them on park for 2 or 3 days, try to find an owner. And then if we can't and nobody at the park wants to take a dog home, then, we go to the shelter and we figure out, what we need to do. But while the dog's there for that 2 or 3 days, we'll take it down to the museum or to the boat dock and let it hang out with the guys and the gals that work there in the summer. And we're like, see if anybody wants to take this dog.
Yeah.
Who wants this dog?
It's a cute dog.
Yeah.
And the other thing we had talked about too is if people come in camp and they didn't bring their dogs, or they don't have a dog,
and
they can always foster a dog while they're there.
Oh, that's
You know,
good
some people
idea.
don't like to walk by themselves
Yeah.
on trails. And if you have a dog, I mean, you're still by yourself, but it makes you feel a little bit better with a dog.
It makes you feel better for sure.
Yeah.
That's a really good idea.
And especially because you said you can foster for just a weekend.
Yeah,
so that's
absolutely.
perfect.
Yeah.
So anyway, we're hoping it brings some good awareness and
We are too.
get some more dogs adopted out. I think that would be great.
So for the Tails to Trails, what's the logistics? So they go online and they pre-register.
They pre-register.
And then the day of, they go to the shelter.
Mhm.
Okay.
So yeah, on the day of, they'll come to the shelter. For the first one or two, we'll have a very short list of dogs.
Okay.
So that dogs that we know like each other
Can
and will play,
coexist,
and
yeah.
Yes.
and then they'll pick from those dogs to go.
Okay.
And then we'll have like a little bag for them with some treats and some water, a little collapsible bowl, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then they just take the dog. They sign the vouchers that we normally have people sign when they foster and volunteer.
Okay.
And they can take the dog and they can keep the dog for half the day if they want to keep it, as long as they want, and then just bring it back, or just bring it back after the event.
Yeah.
And then on the
The
park,
event's about an hour.
hour and a half.
Okay.
And then on the park side, when you register through the park website, it'll take you to the Galaxy Digital website, and there's some paperwork you fill out there, waivers, similar thing. Basically, it registers you to be a volunteer at the park.
Okay.
And so you will get volunteer hours for this, if that's something that
Yeah.
you're
Oh.
that
Will
you
they
need.
get double volunteer hours from the park and from us?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe.
Because there'll be a volunteer for us too.
Yeah, there'll be two. So maybe
There you go, guys.
double. You can double dip there and get double your volunteer hours.
Nobody heard that. That's official.
And so they'll do that, and then anytime we have another event like that, you can opt in, I think, for the emails or the reminders, like
Okay.
from the park stuff, and so that you'll get notified. But then you can see our calendar. We do have some other events on there that are like ongoing volunteer registration things. But once you sign up for one and you fill out your waivers and everything, you can sign up for any of them, and you don't
Okay.
have to do the paperwork again. So
Okay.
really
And you only have
easy.
to do it once for us too. So if it's a
Perfect.
monthly thing. If they want to come and do it again the following month, the paperwork's already there. So then you would just have to show up, pick up your dog and all the equipment, and then go on. Or if they wanted to take a dog for what we're calling doggy adventures, we can do that too. So they can take a dog, take it for a ride, go walk around the square, take it to lunch, and then bring it back for after the day. So yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's a great thing that you guys have gotten together and
Oh, yeah.
you had
It's really
this
cool.
spark of an idea, and then you both just jumped in and ran with it. Now it's become this whole thing that I love that. I love seeing those ideas come to fruition. So I'm really excited
absolutely.
about it.
Yeah.
We're signing up. me and my husband, and we have my stepdaughter that weekend. So we're excited about doing it.
Cool.
Is it rain or shine?
If the weather, so if it's a little sprinkle, we'll typically still hike.
Okay.
Especially if it's an on and off thing. If it's like it is right now outside and pouring
Sloppy.
down and sloppy and nasty, we'll just postpone.
Okay.
So if in the event that we postpone, you wouldn't have to do the paperwork again for us. We
Okay.
would just pick a new date, and you're automatically registered for the new date.
Okay,
basically.
that sounds good.
So.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's a good opportunity for the dogs for enrichment and socialization. It's good for us, especially this time of year, and it's dark at 5 p.m. and,
yeah.
I need to be outside more. So I think it's good for everybody involved.
Absolutely.
And building that community connection as well. So I think it's really good. So dates again, it's February
15th, March 15th, and I can't remember the April date, but it's that second Sunday. It should be that second Sunday in April if it's tracking like everything
Okay.
else. Yeah.
I think April 13th is Easter.
So it may be the
Following.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the other one after that. So other things going on at the park?
Oh, gosh, we have so much going on. We've got trail building opportunities for those of y'all that love to hike Shoal Creek Trail. Ranger Joseph's been working on a reroute to make it a little bit easier of a grade, things like that, especially toward the fall's end. And we're finally getting rid of those terrible steps at the very beginning or the very end, whatever way you hike it. So if you want to come be a part of that, again, that you get volunteer hours for that, community service hours for that. You sign up for it the same way you sign up for the dog walk, Tails to Trails. And then every weekend we offer a variety of different things, whether it's a regular nature hike, a night hike, fire starting programs, campfire cooking programs. The restaurant will do trivia and bingo.
Oh, that's cool.
On some Fridays and Saturdays. So basically, if you want to keep up with all that, get on our Facebook page, get on our website. We have all of our events on there. You can register on the website for everything. Anything you need to register for, you can register on the website.
Okay.
And so it's all there. We're busy. We got a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I love it.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I love it.
The restaurant, you can have dogs at the restaurant outdoors?
Yes, we have a pet-friendly patio outside.
Okay.
So as long as the weather's nice, or even if it's cold and you want to sit outside in the cold with your dog, more
Go
power
for
to you. Like, I would not sit out there in the cold. But yes, the patio is pet-friendly.
Okay.
And they bring out a dog bowl with water for your dog whenever you sit down to order and all that. So
Okay, that's sweet. Any upcoming events at the shelter other than the Tales to Trails right now?
Just the launch of the Doggy Adventures, but that's not really a specific date or anything at this time. That's the only thing I
It's
can
just
think
an
of.
ongoing thing.
It will be, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be posting it pretty soon too.
Yeah. And that's just like, come get a dog for an afternoon,
Yeah.
take them on a little adventure.
Yeah. See how they do in the car.
Yeah.
Take them to the square.
So get a pup cup.
Get a pup cup.
Gotta get a pup cup. It's a prerequisite.
Yeah.
And, Tractor Supply,
It gives them more exposure to different places that they can go. And
She's loving that rug.
she really does love the road.
But yeah, it gives them more exposure to other environments.
Okay.
Because not everybody will take a dog and just go home with it and never take it anywhere. So
Right.
it lets them get exposed to other things too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's going to be great. Upcoming FOLCA events. So we have our SNPs clinic, which is our low cost spay and neuter. We have them periodically throughout the year. The next one coming up is February 21st. It is full already. But we will have more coming up soon. So just make sure to follow the FOLCA page on Facebook, and we post those as they come available. We have Merry Market coming up. That's in March. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Merry Market. Mm-hmm. So they have one in the fall, I guess, for like Christmas Merry Market, and then they have a spring Merry Market. Cool. So we'll be doing that. We're going to have gift baskets set up, and then you can enter to win a raffle, or it's like a raffle. So you buy raffle tickets and then enter to win. So I think last year they did like a big dog one and a big cat one. This year we might do like several smaller ones that are more themed, so you can pick and choose. Like, does your dog like treats and not really toys, or is your dog like real toy motivated but not really treat motivated? Things like that. Cool. So we're working through, getting all that set up and organized. We're doing that. And yeah. Oh, I did not mention the SNPs number. So I always mention the SNPs number. So if you need low cost spay and neuter, the SNPs number is 931-852-4907. So you can call them, and then one of our volunteers will call you back within a day or two usually. Yeah, I think that's all the events that we have for FOLCA on the books right now that I can think of. We do have our FOLCA leadership update. So those are new things. So we elected new officers. So Rosalind is staying as president for this coming year. I was elected as vice president for this year, and I guess we'll be moving into president role next year. So keep me in your prayers. Ginger Sharp is secretary for this coming year, and Teresa Purcell is the treasurer for this year. So we did that, the officer elections. We had our big planning meeting where we talk about all of our different committees and all of our goals for the year, how we want to grow our partnerships, both like internal local partnerships and then rescue partners and, local businesses, and like this partnership between you two and different organizations that we can, get more dogs in front of people, get more people involved in fostering and doggy adventures, and, anything to improve the lives of these animals at the shelter and get them into their forever homes. So we're really excited about what 2026 is coming for the FOLCA organization and for the animal shelter. Really excited about all that. We always need volunteers at the shelter, at the park. With FOLCA. We all have Facebooks. You can reach us there. Shoot us a message. You can reach folcavolunteer@gmail.com for FOLCA volunteers. I don't know if you have a volunteer specific email.
We do. It's volunteer at Lawrenceburg tnsheriff.gov is our email address for volunteers.
How about you?
It's just through Galaxy Digital, but you can also reach out to Ranger Joseph. His info is on our website under the volunteer tab too for specific opportunities. But like I said, all those opportunities are posted on there. We have, like I said, the trail building opportunities, things like the Tales to Trails that will just pop up and be partnerships. And then also, I think he did one also for our beehives. So we have beehives on the park that are currently managed by our camp hosts up in Campground 2, Mike and Chandra. They do a great job with the honey. It's delicious. It won a blue ribbon at the fair. Not bragging, but we got some blue ribbon honey. But all local, all natural. And so if beekeeping is something you're into, you can also volunteer to help with that.
That's really cool. All right. Well, thank you both for coming on today.
Yeah, no problem.
It's been fun. It's my first time on the show, so I appreciate you guys taking it easy on me.
Yeah.
Any comments, questions before we close it out?
I don't think so.
Just so the shelter is on Facebook, Instagram, and we've just created a TikTok page.
Hey.
So you can follow us on all of those, and that's where we'll generally post any events coming up. We have things percolating, but they're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't want to say anything about them. But we do have several things in the works, and of course, as soon as it starts getting warmer, we'll start doing more adoption events. It's kind of hard to do it now and get people and us out where it's cold outside. So if you follow all of those, those will tell you when we have our adoption events, so that so people can come out and see those. We also have an Amazon wish list, so you can search us on Amazon for a wish list if you don't want to volunteer but you would like to donate something. So you can find us there also.
Yeah, definitely. And FOLCA, we have Venmo, we have links to their Amazon wish list on our Facebook page. We have a Give Butter link that you can donate to, and those funds directly help the shelter as well. So you can find all that on our Facebook as well. Any ideas I guess you guys have, if you think, you have an idea for a good fundraising opportunity or new ways for us to help get dogs adopted, send us a message. Like, we're open to any kind of ideas and any events you think that you could host or you have a good idea to put together. I think we're all pretty much open to that, making that happen. So
if you have a business and you have a parking lot that we can use to do adoption events, I mean, Cash America, when we did that one a few months back, we had quite a few people stop at that one. So if you have space where you can host something like that for us on a weekend, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, and it's, fairly low impact to your business. It's parking lot space. It's a few hours for an afternoon, and it's getting these dogs in front of people and changing their lives literally. So all right. Well, again, we want to thank our sponsors. So thank you to Story and Lee. Thank you to Parks Lumber Company. Thank you to Hearing Services of Middle Tennessee. Thank you to Latte, the bestest little girl. She's been so good today. I just want to encourage everyone out there, if you're on the fence about adopting or fostering, wondering if maybe fostering's right for you. There's no defined amount of time that you have to foster. Like Lori said, you can foster for a weekend, you can foster for, a week or a few days, just to try it out and see. It really does make a difference in these dogs. Just giving them that time to decompress and, experience like quiet, just to get out of, having 60 dogs barking around them all the time and just letting them, relax in a space where, they have, a bed and quiet. And
that's actually something that we hear a lot for people, especially like the couple that comes and takes a dog for the weekend. Almost always they say that first day they just sleep that whole time when they're there, because it's just stressful being with all that noise and all the other dogs.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. And it does take, a day or so for them to, come over that. And then their personality really gets to start showing. And it's so rewarding. Like, it's rewarding to be able to watch that change and to be able to watch them go from like a little bit anxious and then exhausted, and then like watch them start playing, like start playing with toys and start, running around and acting like a dog. And that, like, it's so rewarding to watch that change happen in a dog. So I think if you're on the fence about it, like, just try it for a couple of days. And if it doesn't work out, that's okay. Or, we can find a dog maybe that does work for you and your situation. Or if it doesn't work, that's okay too. But
we have lots of different dogs. We have some that are so high energy that, they would love to go out and run with you. In fact, that was one of the things we were going to do. Is I got the idea of this from someone who works at a different shelter in another state, and they set up a running club. They put the dogs with a running club. It's like, I don't know that we have a running club. We might.
Well, Ranger Joe does run with the Ranger. So anybody that already participates in
we have a couple of dogs that would probably make good running buddies. But then we also have dogs that, they just want to be in your lap, want to be sitting next to you watching TV in front of the fireplace, whatever you're doing, So we've got the wide range, as many different kinds of people. We have as many different kinds of dogs.
Yeah, so just give it a try just for a few days and see how it works for you. And, you don't have to adopt a dog just because you foster the dog. Yeah. Fostering is such an important part of any, healthy, rescue community or like animal community. And, it's making every dog you foster, you're making that dog more adoptable.
Absolutely.
So it's very important, I think. But yeah, thank you again to our sponsors. Thank you to WLX for hosting us. And I guess we are signing off until the next Lawrence County Animal Hour.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.